So, quite a bit has happened in the last 24 hours since my last video on this whole Dream TommyInnit drama. Just to give a brief little recap, basically Tommy ended up getting into some drama with Miss Kiff and XQC, and then Dream seemingly out of nowhere drops this post calling Tommy's fans the R word. And then of course Dream got some backlash and he ended up deleting that post, and then he made a whole Reddit post explaining why he made that post in the first place. And then last night Dream decided to go live with his detective dream shtick, which you might remember from the whole John Swan situation where he proved that John Swan was lying about his autistic cousin using his account to pretend to be Dream. Now this live stream was 3 hours long and I watched about half of it last night before I went to sleep. According to a lot of people on Twitter, this stream was a bunch of nothing. However, I don't want to be biased because the parts of the stream that I watched, I felt like Dream had some valid criticism against Tommy. Basically, Dream talked about how he had a problem with the way Tommy and his friend group went about his allegations. A lot of these people still make jokes about Dream being a groomer, or they kind of brush over Dream's response, saying things like, oh, you know, he sort of kind of disproved them, we don't really know. And they kind of keep this rumor going that Dream is some kind of predator.
Now, I don't 100% know, but I think Dream has since released a video like 3 years later disproving everything. So I think that's important to keep in mind, but also part of my brain
I like that Tubbo mentioned this. I think that the way that he mentioned it feels kind of disingenuous to me. Like, hey, you know, I think Dream might have put a video out. I think, you know, like as if he hasn't, you know, most likely watched that video, or, you know, it's like the fear of wanting to form an opinion on it because you know that your audience has a different opinion than you, which is, I think, an issue in the community as a whole. It's something that I've dealt with obviously in the past, something that I think a lot of creators deal with in general. But no, just say Dream released a video debunking the allegations. Just say that. It's not hard to say that. Hey guys, I think it's important to note that even though this was a big issue that happened back then, at the time it was up in the air and we made decisions, but Dream released a video debunking them.
And he mentions how before any allegations even came out against him, that he had problems with Tommy making jokes about him being a groomer constantly.
This started actually with me sending a message to Tommy about him making pedophile jokes about me before my allegations came out, and how I didn't like that, and how it was not fair, and how I didn't feel like he was treating me like a friend. That's actually how it started. That type of thing was something that I had talked to Tommy about before, and that Tommy had actually done again and again and again and again. This is all prior to, obviously, the allegations came out later, and I expressed to Tommy in private that, hey, you're perpetuating this image that I am a creep, that I'm somehow creepy for, you know, DMing a reactor saying, hey, thanks for the reaction, and I don't like that. And that could make me a target to people to give false allegations, which, guess what? Ended up happening.
And he talks about how Tommy was kind of two-faced, how one moment in his DMs he would be like, oh yeah, screw Quackity, your SMP is gonna be the best, like we don't need Quackity, it doesn't matter that we're doing the same thing.
Basically, from my perspective, before Tommy's video, obviously I had many discussions with Tommy about the USMP. I can get more of these screenshots, just take my word for it. Obviously he was very heavily involved. He wanted to be a part of it. He was sending me, you know, tons of messages about it, you know, blah, blah, blah. And actually, whenever Quackity launched the QSMP, I was like, hey, I'm waiting on, you know, I told Tommy was asking me, he was bumping me, he was saying, hey, when is the essentially he's like, you know, when is the USMP coming out? I want to be a part of it. And I said, man, I'm trying to work things out with Quackity. I don't know what to do. I'm waiting. I messaged him. He's not replying to me. And Tommy's reply was, fuck Quackity. We need to go. You can't wait on him and let him, you know, basically take the shine, essentially.
And then randomly in one of his videos, he attacked Dream and made fun of the whole Quackity situation, even though in private he seemed to have been on Dream's side.
And Tommy, a month later, releases a video. I genuinely was shocked. If YouTubers were honest, which also he starts this video. Disclaimer, this video is not for the faint of heart. This is a warning if you're not ready for the truth.
It's still a Minecraft server to combine multiple communities, my communities together, and bring the world together. This is an amazing idea.
Hey, I don't like that idea. is actually my idea, not yours.
Doesn't. Okay, that's fine. We can both do it, I guess.
Stop ignoring me.
What?
Stop ignoring me.
And he also talks about how TommyInnit's mother had gotten involved in this drama somehow. Like, she was responding to people on Twitter and, of course, taking her son's side in this. And so Dream decided to reach out to her with this totally rational, long paragraph, which this was something that had obviously caused a rift between the two of them because Tommy had felt that it was weird that Dream was reaching out to his mother. I just think that Dream has a problem with criticism, and that's something that is well documented within all of his controversies. And he also brings up how this is kind of a pattern of behavior with Tommy. Like, in private, he'll be nice to someone like Logan Paul, and then in public, when he sees an opportunity to like get attention, then he'll go after Logan Paul despite already knowing all the horrible things that Logan had done before. Which honestly, I think that is all pretty valid criticism against Tommy. Now, I didn't watch the entire 3-hour live stream, but those were just some of the best points that I saw Dream make, and so I just wanted to present those at the start of this video before I go over TommyInnit's response, because Tommy ended up making a like 5-minute video just giving his side of the story. And I think it's important to try and be non-biased, especially given the fact that Twitter is extremely biased. Like, a lot of these people still say that Dream is some kind of predator, and I do think that Dream was correct in saying, well, you're mad at me for saying the R slur, but you didn't get mad at Nick Cantu for saying it. That's a double standard, and I think that is perfectly valid criticism. When everyone was defending that guy, I was one of the few people saying, like, this guy was a piece of shit. Like, he was in this Uber yelling at the Uber driver and throwing slurs at him, and sure, maybe he was drunk, but like, I felt like if that were anyone else in the Uber with him, then that guy would have gotten the blunt of the backlash, but instead it was Dream because everyone is biased against him.
Hello. This video is a message to Dream. If you've been off the internet the past couple days and haven't kept up, basically, if you're one of my subscribers, Dream has called you a slur. So deal with that how you want.
Now, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, personally, I thought that Dream's like little response or meme he posted was cringe. But the way TommyInnit is bringing this up at the start is clearly trying to make people immediately biased against Dream. Like, they're gonna go into this being like, wow, what? He called all of my fans a slur? How could he do that?
So Dream, hello mate. Let's just dive right in, shall we? Let's talk about you calling all my fans the R slur. You can't throw around the R slur, mate. You just can't. My mum worked with adults with disabilities, and since I was 12, I volunteered with her. These are real, fucking amazing people, who I think of like family, who actually get called this slur. And you do not just throw it around. It's impossibly immature and reckless and sets such a shitty precedent to everyone.
To give Dream the benefit of the doubt, this was a meme that someone else had made that he downloaded and posted because I guess he thought it was funny. And this word, the R slur, isn't universally condemned by everyone. And there's weird different rules about who can use it and when you can use it. And I feel like if TommyInnit can make jokes calling Dream a groomer, then I feel like Dream can make a joke calling TommyInnit and his fans retarded.
In your stream you did, you slagged off a lot of my pals. Come on, mate. I mean, my friends are all idiots, but they have bloody good hearts. With your group, I cannot believe how the George stuff from a year ago went down. I cannot believe the response to it online. It's disgusting. It's sexist, man. And you and your friends' references and the way you talk about women behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
So here, Tommy talks about the whole George Not Found Katie bug situation, where basically it seemed like there was a miscommunication between George and Katie. And it seems like the internet kind of split off into two camps. It was either George was this predator who intentionally tried to hurt Katie, or that Katie was a lying word I probably can't say, and that George was completely innocent. Now, I don't really know much of the behind the scenes and how Dream and his friends talk, but from the way I saw them handle the situation, they mostly kind of stayed out of it. Like, George just released his side of the story, and that was pretty much it. I don't think that Katie should have gotten bullied off the internet and should have gotten harassed in the way she did. I think that was disgusting, but I also don't think it was right that people immediately rushed to call George some kind of predator.
You've basically spent the past day calling me a dickhead, and look, pal, I have made mistakes. and I'm gonna make loads more. But the difference is, I give a shit. I'm trying. I'm putting in effort, and I really care. And I take responsibility when I've fucked up. Dream. 4 years ago, you were awful to me. When I was 16, you gave me YouTube advice, and you held that over my head for years. You didn't treat me like an equal, and you made me feel small. The Dream SMP, a lot of your success just wouldn't have happened without me. Streaming every single night on the server, and caring about everything as much as I did. And you made me feel small about that. And I was a kid. Shame on you, man. And you knew what you were doing. Because I've watched you do it to other people too. And if you didn't, and that was just an accident, then fucking hell, man.
Now here, Tommy claims that for 4 years, Dream basically took credit for Tommy's success and had sort of held this over his head, which Dream did bring this up in his stream, but he also did give Tommy credit and said that the Dream SMP wouldn't be where it was without him. We don't really know what happened behind the scenes. We don't really know what kind of conversations took place and why Tommy feels the way that he does. But if this is true and Dream did treat him this way, I think that that's unfair because Tommy objectively was his equal. Tommy was probably one of the most entertaining aspects of the SMP, and he was a kid, so he more than anyone probably really struggled during that time.
You harassed my mum as she was going through a divorce, the worst time of her life. You tried to harm the relationship between me and my mum. And if we weren't best friends, with the shit that you were saying, you probably could have really harmed that, mate. You are like a proper movie villain. I have watched you take advantage of vulnerable people and use them to benefit yourself. I have watched you lie to fans, to me, to people, and take no responsibility afterwards. You are incapable of taking any criticism. You refuse to change anything about yourself. You reframe everything so that you are the victim. 4 years have gone by, and the rest of us have grown, reflected, really tried to better ourselves and learn after going through that incredibly overwhelming experience together. And you've reverted to saying slurs and punching down.
And, you know, I think Tommy brings up a really good point here. Dream has pretty much stayed the same the last 4 years, and it shows because he's continued the same pattern of behavior over and over and over again. I'm not sure what Dream's intent was with the messages to Tommy's mom, because from Tommy's point of view, he felt like Dream was trying to create a rift between the two of them. And if that was the case, then that is really messed up and disgusting that he would do that. But again, this could just be miscommunication, but I think that TommyInnit has every right to feel the way he does about Dream reaching out to his mother. So yeah, that was basically Tommy's response to this whole situation. And I'll let you guys make your minds up of who you think is in the right or who you think's in the wrong here. I think as always with situations like this is there's not just one side of the story, there's multiple sides to this story. And personally, I just hope that everyone is able to come out of this better somehow, because all this drama, all this back and forth is just really toxic. And I think both of them have expressed valid criticisms of each other. Anyway, these are just my thoughts on this entire situation. If you guys have enjoyed, be sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and I am out.